Starting a business in Maryland sounds exciting until you hit that first confusing form and wonder, am I already doing this wrong? Between name rules, legal paperwork, and yearly requirements, it's way too easy to mess something up that could cost you later. But don't stress, because this video here will walk you through every single step of forming your Maryland LLC the right way without the headaches. And it's worth noting there's one critical decision early on that can make or break your LLC, but we'll get to that here in a minute. First, let's kick things off with why Maryland stands out if you're thinking about starting an LLC. So first off, the state has a strategic spot right next to Washington, D.C., which means that you get access to tons of government contracts and a strong local economy. Plus, Maryland's business community is super diverse, whether you're into tech, healthcare, hospitality, or even starting your own side hustle. Maryland has also rolled out multiple tax credit programs to support new businesses, and the state filing fee for a new LLC is on the low side compared to many other states out there. So if you want to give your new business a head start, Maryland's a pretty solid bet, both money and opportunity-wise. But none of that matters if you don't take the first step, which is more complicated than most people give it credit for, and it's all about choosing your business's name. Now, I do want to say before we jump in too deep here, here's one thing to keep in mind though. Starting your business, it should be exciting and not overwhelming. But forming an LLC on your own, that can get confusing fast with all the legal forms, rules, and easy to miss details. Now, I'll walk you through everything in this video, but if any part of this feels confusing, I've got a favorite LLC formation service that makes the whole process super simple and stress-free. It's guided, beginner-friendly, and it only costs $39. So if you hit any bumps along the way, just click right up here to get step-by-step help setting up your LLC the easy way. Finding the perfect business name is the critical decision that I mentioned in the intro, and it can be difficult because, well, really all the rules that Maryland has. So first, your name should be unique and match what your business is all about. But here's the catch. Maryland actually requires that every LLC name be different from other businesses that already exist in the state. So before anything else, hop onto the Maryland Business Express website and use the free business entity search tool, which is linked to in the description below, along with every other resource in this video, to make sure that your chosen name hasn't already been claimed by someone else. So once you find the name that you want, you can either proceed and use it when filing, or choose to reserve it. Now, reserving your business name, it isn't required, but if you want to lock it in while you're still finalizing other details and paperwork, you could submit what they call a name reservation application and pay a $25 fee to do so, which will hold your name for 30 days, and you can re-reserve it if you need more time from there, but each extension will cost you $25. Just remember that the reservation period, it is pretty short, so only reserve the name if you really need the extra cushion before forming your LLC. Now, with your business name secured, the next critical step is choosing a registered agent. And this is the person or company that is your official point of contact for legal documents from the state. So let's talk about what that means and how to pick the right one for your Maryland LLC. So Maryland requires that your registered agent has a physical address in Maryland, so no PO boxes allowed, and is available during regular business hours to accept mail and legal notices. Basically, this person or company, they really make sure that nothing important slips through the cracks, like lawsuits, government forms, or tax paperwork. Now, you have a few options here. You can be your own registered agent. You can get a friend or a family member, as long as they live in Maryland, or opt for a professional service. Now, if you value privacy, travel often, or just want one less thing to worry about, paying for a professional service just makes sense. That said, I always recommend Northwest Registered Agent because I've used them myself in the past. Plus, they're really highly rated for being reliable, easy to reach, and protecting your personal info by using their business address instead of yours, which helps you keep your personal information off public records. Oh, and they only charge $39 to help you properly form your LLC and be your registered agent, which is super cheap in my opinion. So that alone is worth it if you ask me. Now, to learn more, go ahead and click right up here, or just check out the link in the description. And no matter which way you go here, setting up your registered agent right is a must to keep your Maryland LLC compliant with the state. So don't take it lightly. All right, so let's jump into the paperwork here that you have to file with the state to make your things official. So to launch your LLC in Maryland, you need to file your Articles of Organization, which is a simple document that gives the state key details about your business. You'll need to include your LLC's name, its Maryland street address, your registered agent's name and address, the purpose of your business, which is just a basic, 1 or 2 sentence description, and signatures from both you or whoever is forming your LLC and your registered agent. Now you've got a few options for filing, so mail, online, or in person. Mailing it in is $100 and takes about 6 weeks to process. And if you want things to move faster, filing online through Maryland Business Express bumps the fee up to $150, but you'll typically get approval in just a few days. Now, if you're in a serious rush, Maryland offers crazy fast same-day options as well for extra fees if you're interested. Now, once approved, you'll get a formal registration certificate, which you can think of that as your LLC's birth certificate. And after your articles of organization are filed and approved, the next smart move is drafting what they call your operating agreement. This kind of sets the rules for how your LLC will run, even if you're flying solo. So let's break down why this step matters. So your operating agreement is basically the playbook for your Maryland LLC. Even though Maryland does not require one legally, it's a smart move to create, and here's why. It lays out how your business is managed, each member's roles and percentages of ownerships, how profits and losses are split, and what happens if someone leaves or if you ever shut down. Now you can download plenty of free templates online or write your own if you want. If you're starting your LLC with friends or partners, having everything in writing from the start totally avoids misunderstandings and keeps things running smoothly. So it's highly recommended. And even if you're solo, an operating agreement can help prove that your LLC is a real independent entity from your personal assets. And that's something that most banks and courts really care about. So now that your operating agreement is all set, it's time to make things official with the IRS and your bank. So let's walk through getting your EIN and setting up your business bank account. Now, this is where your Maryland LLC gets real in the eyes of the IRS and the banking world. So first, you'll need to grab an employer identification number, or an EIN, which you can think of kind of as your business's social security number. It allows you to file taxes, open a business bank account, apply for business licenses, and even hire employees. And it's totally free and easy to get straight from the IRS website. And most folks, they finish the application in about 15 minutes to get their EIN instantly online. Now, once you've got your EIN confirmation letter, it's time to open a business bank account, right? For that, you'll need your articles of organization, where you formed your LLC, your EIN letter, and usually an operating agreement as well. Having a dedicated bank account for your LLC is an absolute must, in my opinion. Mixing business income and expenses with your personal account can ruin your liability protection and even cause tax headaches if you ever get audited. And it also makes tracking income, expenses, and deductions way easier during tax season. So lock in those basics early. It'll save you hassle, protect your assets, and help your business look more legit, all before you even land your first customer. And with your LLC's finances set up, the next thing is staying on top of Maryland's yearly requirements. So let's look at what it takes to keep your business in good standing with the state. So the first big one is your annual report. That's officially called the Form 1 Business Entity Annual Report. And every Maryland LLC is required to file this by April 15th each year, even if you didn't make any money or aren't currently doing business. Now, the great news here, you can file your report online for free. If your LLC owns or uses personal property in Maryland, like computers or inventory, or holds a trader's license because you sell retail goods, you'll also need to complete the personal property return as part of your annual filing. This document ensures that the state knows what taxable business assets you actually own. Now, aside from state filings, don't forget to check if your city or county requires additional business licenses, or if your specific line of business needs an occupational license, things like childcare, construction, or restaurants. Now, missing these filings, it could mean losing your LLC's good standing status. And in Maryland, that can lead to penalties or even the state completely dissolving your business entirely. So don't ignore them. And staying on top of these simple steps, it really protects your business and your peace of mind year after year. But let's get into the expected costs for your Maryland LLC so that you're not surprised in the future. Okay, so let's make sure that there's no surprises when it comes to what it actually costs to start and maintain a Maryland LLC by kind of breaking down startup costs and ongoing annual costs so that you know exactly what to expect. All right, so we'll start with the startup costs. So a Maryland LLC filing fee is required. It's $100 if you file by mail or $150 online. Now the online fee, that is higher, but it actually includes expedited processing for faster approval than by mail. Now, of course, if you need it, you can pay even more for faster processing too, which will run you upwards of $425, but that's totally optional. From there, a name reservation. This is also optional. So it's $25 for a 30-day reservation, which is really helpful only if you want to secure your business's name before you're ready to actually file all the paperwork. Next is a registered agent, which is optional, but I highly recommend. So if you use Northwest Registered Agent, it's $39 for the initial startup help, and well worth it in my opinion. Next is a DBA registration, which is optional. That's $25 if you want to operate your LLC under a different name from your official one, which is great for branding or niche segments. Now, overall, you can expect your Maryland LLC startup costs to range from about $100 if you're filing everything yourself by mail, up to maybe $425 or more if you need expedited, state processing or opt for add-ons. Next is the ongoing costs, right? So these are the annual recurring fees. So your annual report and personal property return, that's $300. That's due every April 15th. You need to file even if your LLC owns no business property, and this keeps your business in good standing with the state. Next, registered agent, Northwest Registered Agent, assuming you use that after the first year, it's $125 per year. That'll help you stay in compliance and not miss anything important. From there, local business licenses or permits. Now these can really range from about $15 for many, simple businesses, all the way up to $800 for certain retail, construction, or really specialty operations, depending on your county and what your business actually does. So you can expect your Maryland LLC's yearly cost after startup. They'll generally range from about $300 to $1,000 or more if you require one of the pricier local licenses. Now again, to help with all this process, I do have to advise you, I think it's best to just use a service like Northwest Registered Agent, which again, you can click right up here to check out, as they'll help you stay in compliance year after year while you try to run a profitable business for yourself. Now, if you have any questions for me or are a little confused about the process, just drop me a comment below, and I will do my absolute best to help you out as soon as possible. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.